What is something that happened at a sleepover which you will never forget? Story 1. My friend just screamed in the middle of the night. I heard it because I had trouble sleeping in a bed that wasn't my own. He just fucking yelled out. In hindsight, he was probably having a dream and sleep talking, yelling. But when I was 8, it was terrifying. Story 2. Another kid and I got into the same sleeping bag and touched our dicks together because we thought it would mean we had lost our virginities. The other boys sat in a circle around us, egging us on. It was a lot like the last scene of Requiem for a Dream. Story 3. I was over at my friend's for a sleepover when we were 11, and his parents started going at it in the bedroom next door. So it's like 7 p.m. They have 6 kids, and they're all awake. So my friend looks at me and casually says, "Mom, please," then goes back to playing video games. Story 4. At my friend's birthday party, I was 12. I took a giant shit, flushed the toilet, and walked away. An hour later, his mom yelled from the bathroom, "OMF, there's shit everywhere." The 5 of us went to the bathroom to see a thin layer of water and running shit all over the floor, with his mom angrily staring at us. Everyone knew it was me and pointed it out immediately. After that, I was never allowed at his house again. I still run into his mom sometimes, and I can tell she isn't over it. Story 5. The first time I ever saw porn was at a sleepover, and it blew my mind. I had no idea there was this whole world of sexual possibilities beyond awkwardly humping my pillow. Story 6. Slept at a friend's house. Friend has a cat. Woke up with a cat sleeping on my face. I panic. Cat panics because I'm panicking. Cat claws my face. I've hated cats ever since. Story 7. I was in preschool and sleeping with my sister at a friend's house down the street. I woke up to screaming and glass shattering in the middle of the night, so I got out of bed and followed the noise into the lounge room. His parents were screaming at each other and throwing things around the room, and when they saw me, the mother came running over and pushed me back into the bedroom and shut the door. Story 8. When I was a kid, my mom had a friend who would always bring her son to hang out with, so they arranged a sleepover for us that he was incredibly stoked about. So it's lights out, and he almost immediately starts crying. He kept saying, "My mom wanted a girl," repeatedly. I'm still trying to figure out what happened. Story 9. We used to be best friends with the popular girl at school, and our group always had sleepovers. One night, we were around 12 years old. I woke up all wet, and she convinced me that it was boiling, and we had just sweated a lot. Then I thought about the plastic cover on the bed and frequent sheet changing, and it all made sense. So, she had peed the bed, and, well, me. Story 10. I wet the bed at a friend's house one time. The following day, I told him I grabbed lemonade from the fridge in the middle of the night and spilled a whole cup. I was like 8. They didn't have lemonade. Story 11. We were a bunch of 10-year-old girls. Immediately, one girl became the group bitch. I forgot how, but after she fell asleep, we all tried to put her fingers in the water. She didn't pee, so we decided to fuck with her and move her in her sleep so she'd wake up on the coffee table and not know how she got there. She woke up as we attempted to transport her and had a surprisingly good attitude. Then we all felt kind of evil. Story 12. In my 20s, I threw a sleepover. I invited a guy that I intended to set up with a friend. It turns out my friend went back to her ex. I became great friends with guys. That guy is now my husband. Best sleepover. Story 13. There was a group of around 6 guys at a friend's house while his parents were out of town. We all had been drinking, and I woke up around 7 a.m. to take a leak. He walked past his family's computer to see one of the guys jerking it to 2 girls, 1 cup. Story 14. It was the 4th grade. A girl's sleepover. We played Truth or Dare. There were, 5 or 6 of us. Well, I had my first lesbian experience. We all took turns giving each other pecks on the lips. Story 15. My brother told me about a sleepover he was at in middle school. The host's friend suggested playing Truth or Dare. Everyone agreed. The host friend went first and dared himself to stick a marker up his butt. As the marker entered the butt, my brother and a couple of other friends escaped the window and ran home. Story 16. There was that one time that I was having a sleepover with 3 cheerleader friends when we were about 15, and we all decided to play Spin the Bottle after a bit of underage drinking. Long story short, we all wound up naked and messing around. 2 of them began relationships with women for the next couple of years. We're all still friends, and we can't listen to Ho. We had terrible taste in music, I know, without remembering that night. Story 17. 2 of my buddies slept over when we were like 14. They got into a massive argument over COD zombies and ended up fighting. I let them go at it because I knew what would happen. They stopped after about 10 minutes, and one said, "Fuck this, we should be fighting the zombies." They high-fived and went back to COD. Funniest thing ever. Story 18. In third grade, a bunch of us were sleeping in my friend's living room in a row. I was on the end of the row, closest to the French doors that led to the back deck. I rode away from the group toward the glass doors and saw a skull-headed figure lying on its side, facing me on the deck, right up against the door. I froze, thinking I must have been seeing things for an hour. I'm sure my eyes were huge. Eventually, the skull-headed thing stood up and walked away. I'm pretty sure it was my friend's older brother in a mask, but I never said a word about it to anyone. Story 19. I was 11 to 12 at a sleepover with one of my good friends. One of the kids there was Sean. Sean was pretty fucking dumb. Think of a kid who can barely swing the bat when playing baseball. Yeah, that's Sean. So we'd say stuff like, "Do you hear those bees?" while he was sleeping, and the kid would freak out, yelling in his sleep. 10 out of 10 would buzz again. Story 20. First time at a sleepover in America. My friend's family held hands and did some weird chanting rituals. Now I know they were saying grace, but I thought they were trying to summon a ghost or something at the time. Story 21. A buddy and I fell asleep in his living room watching a movie. The next thing I know, I wake up while adjusting in the recliner and see my friend's dad on the sofa, staring at me, in his underwear. I acted like it never happened, continued to roll over, and lay there with my eyes closed until he left. It had to have been another 10 minutes he was sitting there. Story 22. I was 10 or 12. Early that night, we were wrestling or something, and I hit my head on a metal bed frame very hard. Middle of the night, I wake up and don't feel good. In the bathroom, I puke everywhere. It was a layer on the toilet floor tub. Then I had to wake his mom up. She cleaned me and it up and called my mom. I sat with a bucket for the rest of the night, uncontrollably vomiting. The next day, I found out I had a concussion. It sucked. Story 23. My first kiss happened at a sleepover back in my middle school years. Don't plan on forgetting that anytime soon, considering how attractive the other person was. Still is. Out of my league, though. Story 24. I have a cat, and my friend who was sleeping over does not like cats. My cat is quite lazy, so I told him she wouldn't bother him. So he was using the bathroom, and I took this fake piece of poop and put it on his pillow, and he thought the cat shit on his pillow. So he began crying, forced my dad to call his mom to pick him up, and left at 11 p.m. Story 25. On my 8th birthday, I had a party, and some kids from elementary school slept over. So he whipped his poop on the bathroom wall, and then when we all called him out on it, he said nobody was paying attention to him. And I'm pretty sure it's the same kid who got our 5th grade trip to SeaWorld canceled because someone smeared poop all over the bathroom wall.